Oh, we don't need no fancy words. I mean, we need to practice. We need to rehearse.
I'll tell you what we need. We need some paying gigs. We don't need this messing around, first one patio and then another, and that's ridiculous. We don't got no goddamn band! We don't need to fucking practice with you!
Okay.
Hello.
Hey, welcome to the No GD Band podcast. I'm Henry.
I'm Chris.
And guess what? There's been a lot of news this week, man.
Yeah.
You've been keeping
Well, happy Halloween first.
Yes. Happy
I saw
Halloween.
you sent me a picture of your fabulous dude costume.
I got a dude from the Big Lebowski sweater. I left it in the car.
You're gonna have to post that. It's pretty sweet.
It's too big. Okay, I'll post it.
I mean, the sweater was perfect.
It's too big.
Well,
Jessica said I bought it too big. You buy it online. This place called Tango or something.
The dude was pretty big.
Yeah.
So, but it's an exact replica of the dude sweater.
I think it's a little darker, actually. If you look at the picture, I think the yarn or whatever is darker than the normal picture. I went to work and I was going to try to keep track of who would know. And white dudes over 40 probably know that movie and could pick it out.
You know,
two
what's
guys
funny?
said something.
I love that movie too. And one of the funny things to me was when you sent me that picture. You didn't have the glasses or the beard. You didn't even say, I'm doing the dude. I don't think your clothes were even the dude.
Nope.
Instantly, I was like, oh, shit, Henry's the dude.
I'm so glad you got it. Because I was thinking people were just going to think I have a goofy sweater on.
No. I never thought about it, but I associate that sweater with the movie.
We're in the kitchen, and we broke one of our mic stands last week. And so now we have Chris standing up.
I hurt my back this week, so I'm standing up, Henry. I'm old.
Are you
going to
stand the whole time?
I don't know. I'll probably get to the point where this hurts, and I'll have to sit down.
I asked Jessica, I said, because I didn't really feel like changing my shoes from work. I said, I could go over with my black Saucony shoes on. She says, why don't you look like you want to make an effort?
Because it's podcasting,
and
it's not video podcasting,
right? But it's like. Is there a point in your life where you start wearing more sensible shoes because they're more comfortable and you stop giving a shit?
Yes.
Like, how do you know when you stopped caring?
I did about 10 years ago.
That's bullshit.
I have a theory about that.
You do.
Really,
I mean, you try to stay a little hip to the game still, right?
I don't know. So last night, this is bringing up a good point. You obviously got festive with the Halloween.
A little bit.
I don't want to go on too long about. We got a lot.
Yes.
I feel like Halloween, which is my favorite holiday, has been ruined by Donald Trump. I just wasn't up for it. So Megan and I are going out of town this weekend.
Yeah.
We both wanted a new pair of jeans, the fall weather and all that. So we were like, let's just go to the mall.
Oh, how novel.
Yeah, we'll go to the mall on Halloween night so the kids don't come to the door, just turn the lights out, go over to the mall. Hadn't been to the South Park in a long time. It's hard to find your way around if you haven't been in a long time.
Yeah.
It's all crazy. But anyway... So I'm going in there, and I'm like, I'm the old curmudgeon, Henry. I tell the little kid with the, the super skinny pants on, and
what store were you at?
We went in the Gap.
The Gap, okay.
And I instantly tell the kid like,
does anybody go to the Gap anymore unless you're?
I don't know, but I'm like, man, look, I just want some jeans, regular jeans for like, I was doing the whole like,
don't make him skinny like this,
right? And so he shows me to the like straight leg jean.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, these will be for you. And I go and I try them on, and I feel like I'm wearing pup tints.
What do you mean, like a pup?
They're the whitest jean I've ever seen. There's
like
enough.
That?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think you said, have I stopped caring? I guess I didn't know my sensibility has changed.
Just a little bit.
Because I was
you
like...
require a taper now. A little bit of a taper.
Yeah, so I went to the next one. I went to the straight leg with stretch, is what it's called.
Yes.
And so they're a little bit skinny, but they're not like skinny pants.
You know who makes really good skinny jeans?
I see. I don't know anything about
Rockaware.
There you go.
Jay-Z. I endorse that. The No GD Band podcast endorses Jay-Z Rockaware jeans.
All right, we're gonna leave. We'll leave our fashion discussion right there.
Okay, sounds good. So news. Last week, we interviewed Jeff Jackson.
Yeah, we did.
We had really more interest in probably our 80s episode than we had for We got a lot of hits on this, but it was nowhere near as popular as our 80s for some reason.
Well, he didn't retweet it either.
He didn't.
What do you think about that?
I don't know. I think things get lost in the sauce, I guess. Maybe a little too edgy for Jeff. I don't know.
And we have a guest coming in today.
Yes, we
Miss
do.
Molly Brown, and
I can
has
see
just
her
walked in. So
from
Molly,
from
if
the
you want
other
to come
room.
say hello, come
Say hi.
hello.
Hey.
We're gonna make her talk from the other room the entire evening, so it'll be.
You
great.
just holler from in there.
My microphone's
Okay.
on a bunch of sci-fi books.
That was on purpose.
That was not on purpose, but I think it's apropos. So, have you read any of those sci-fi books?
I have not.
Okay.
No, I have not.
This is our guest, Molly Brown, musician, songwriter,
Yes.
Alaskan,
and
Trekkie.
we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff.
Tis.
So what do we want to do now, Chris? Take a break?
Well, yeah, let's take a break and we'll go ahead and introduce the
Get
whiskey
settled?
and get that in, and then we'll start talking to Molly.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Whiskey's pretty cool.
Whiskey is pretty cool.
It's like what once was skin now is butter. Nerves that were twisted and tweaked are now smoothed out like soft water moving over rocks long before Kevin Bacon and Meryl hit the splashy beast.
Yeah, man, I like whiskey too. I'll take another shot with you.
To the truth!
Cheers!
All right, Henry, tell us what we got today.
Okay, you bought it.
I bought it.
So
And
why do I introduce the thing?
You're better at it than I am.
This week we've got something I've never seen before.
Me
Four
too.
Roses, small batch, Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, crafted from 4 select bourbons. You know what I heard this week? I heard that roses can symbolize not just romance and, oh God, there's 3 different things. The one that I want to highlight, I can't remember.
Excellent.
Anyway, roses can also symbolize secrecy, apparently. Mm-hmm. Did you know that?
No.
I read this this short story called Roses for Emily, and it's William Faulkner. It's kind of a Halloween-y story or whatever. It's called A Rose for Emily. Basically, she ends up like sleeping with the corpse of her dead lover. You know, that was the end of it anyway. But apparently in the imagery, they said that roses can also symbolize secrecy. So let's hear the secrecy, guys.
Cheers.
Well, I didn't pick it for any literary reasons, but I thought it was interesting that it says it mixes 4 select bourbons. I've never heard of mixing.
And each one is the rose, right?
Yeah.
I think don't they mix?
There we go.
They mix them a lot, don't they?
I didn't know that. See, I'm not a connoisseur, but I'm excited to try a mix, so let's pour it up.
All right.
And bourbon is that Kentucky specific?
Bourbon technically is Kentucky and whiskey is Tennessee, but there is some crossover. And then you got the whole Irish.
Yeah, how
that
do
you
they
throw in the
feel
mix.
about that?
I think they
They're
feel like they
"Fuck
invented all of
Tennessee."
it. Yeah.
Right.
So fuck America. We were here for 8,000 years. But I will say my Tennessee heritage. I actually like Irish whiskey the best. Bushmills is my favorite. I'm holding out. I almost bought it for tonight, but I was like, no, I'm going to save it for later.
I found this really great poster online that gives you like whiskey. They separate it out into different categories and all that stuff. We should get that for the room here.
For sure.
Hang it up.
I like it. We'll have to consult with Megan first, but sure.
Here's your
We can
whiskey
take it up,
poster
put it
for the
down.
kitchen.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's get pouring.
Yeah, sure. It's all right.
Yeah, it's all right.
A little alcohol-y, really.
That's what I think too.
Wait, cough medicine tasting. Mm-hmm. I hope they don't want to.
It was the November special at the ABC store too.
What advantage? I may not be stumbling drunk by the time I get home.
Excellent.
You've got some experience with this, right?
I've been a podcaster for a while.
Tell me about that.
It was a Star Trek podcast. It was called Trecklenburg.
Yeah.
We kind of stopped not too long ago, a few weeks ago. My schedule just got too crazy. But it was Charlotte's, North Carolina premiere podcast on Star Trek.
Really?
Yes.
Did you tell me about how did you get a following and all that stuff? How did you?
Well, we Michael and I never shied away from, the dirty jokes and just being silly. And we like to, couple people up in the shows that wouldn't be coupled up. And we'd make ridiculous lists like, which captain is like which X-Men and crap like that, like ultra nerdy.
Yeah.
And then we do kind of the standard episode review fare, which I think most Star Trek podcasts do. But again, we're fairly irreverent. It was something that we loved, but at the same time, if something was ridiculous, we'd call it out. And I think we were also notorious for getting off topic.
Yeah.
So then it'd become a podcast about something else, even though it was supposed to be about Star Trek, and a lot of petty arguing on the air.
I think that one of the things, I wouldn't say that this holds Chris and I back a little bit, but I will say that we're not specifically focused on one thing. Like we might want to do music one week. We might want to do Star Trek one week. You know what I mean? So I think it might be more difficult to find our audience, because you guys there's an audience. Everybody wants to talk about, those guys want to talk and hear about Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly. There's a built-in gang of nerds who are like, oh, this sounds interesting.
Did you publish it someplace?
Yeah, it was available through iTunes, and we had a web page, and was it one of those podcast places?
Stitcher.
No, it was like Pod Baby or
Podcast Alley.
Something to that
I think there
effect.
was a Pod Baby, something like that. Yeah.
So, and we took it to Reddit a few times, like, hey, if you want to listen to it, check it out.
Yeah, Jessica's been asking me to do that, so I've got to take us to Reddit, maybe get some feedback and all that.
Take it to the Reddit.
Yes. Did you take call-ins or anything like that? Or guests and stuff?
No, we didn't have a dedicated line, and we weren't going to give our phone number out over the internet.
Yeah.
Sometimes our friends would text us and ask ridiculous questions, but that was... And we've asked people to submit questions. We had very little interaction with people online, which I think is one of the reasons why it sort of faded away. It kind of felt like eventually we were just podcasting for ourselves.
Yeah, we know that.
Okay, yeah, you're aware of the feeling.
We know. Yeah.
You're hip to the void.
Well, it's interesting because I think we get a lot of feedback, but we beg people to submit questions or comments in the forum.
Nobody wants to submit anything.
Right. Nobody wants to do it.
They don't trust it.
Right. They don't
it's
want
a
to do
Big
that.
Brother thing.
Yeah. They're just
Is that
I don't
what it
trust
is?
it either.
Nah.
I didn't submit anything to be here.
Right.
And I wouldn't have.
Right.
I didn't sign a release form or anything.
I
You
guess
just
I
walked
was
in the front door.
I was thinking that once we got on Twitter, that magically all these people would start magnetically finding us, and these guys are interesting. No, it is difficult to get attention, man.
Well, it's the same as
internet
music,
is a fickle thing.
Speaking of music, all right. So
Yes.
Molly, musician,
Correct.
writer.
Yes.
You grew up in Alaska.
These things
Right.
are all true.
So when did you leave Alaska?
A little bit before my 21st birthday, I left for grad school.
Did you were you involved in music there?
Yeah, growing up in the school band, that was my thing. Mm-hmm. That was the only thing I ever lettered in.
Lettered,
in school, high school, you get a letter for doing well.
Yeah.
Something extracurricular.
Uh-huh.
That was the only thing that interested me was band. But I was in all the bands. I was in, the big band. I was in the jazz band. If there was a music theory class, I took that. I did all the.
Did it start in school or earlier than that? Was there musical DNA with your folks?
Oh, there's my parents are divorced, so there's an argument about. She gets it from my side, and no, she gets it from my side. I don't remember either of my parents being musical. Mm-hmm. My mom taught me how to play my first songs on the piano.
So she was a piano player?
No, she had about 4 years of piano lessons under her belt from when she was a kid. So she showed me, here's the middle C, and here's how you play Heart and Soul, and a couple other things.
Did you, so I guess you started playing original music there with people in bands?
In Alaska?
Yeah.
No, I was doing music through the school program, so it was more of what you'd call being classically trained.
Yeah.
So when I was in college, I was, I guess, basically studying to be a symphonic tuba player.
Really?
And I had to write some music for my college classes, but it wasn't playing out like I do now. And in writing music on that tip. It was more like I have to turn in a paper and here's a fugue. That sucks.
Where'd you live in Alaska?
Anchorage.
Anchorage. And what brought you here?
A man.
A man.
A young man.
A nameless, faceless guy.
Yeah,
that we won't
I'm
talk
not going to
about.
say his name.
Pass.
But you found to Charlotte specifically, and then started, I guess, hanging out with musicians.
Yes.
And at some point, you joined their outfit.
That's it.
What's the first band you joined?
I was dating this guy named Seth Bolton, who he was not the man who brought me here. This was after that man.
Yeah.
And I joined Seth Bolton's Dream Machine, and I was the tuba
What'd they
player.
sound like?
We kind of sounded like an indie U2 tribute band.
Really?
And we made it. There is footage of us. We made it on one of those morning shows like the Fox News morning. Yeah, you can find it. It's fine.
I'm the boogeyman. I don't think we've had the pleasure. I'm the boogeyman. And if it pleases you, I'm the boogeyman. I don't think we've had the pleasure. I'm the boogeyman. And if it pleases you, here's a bedtime story for the children of the morning. Don't you want to join my army of militant brats? We'll start a revolution.
My bandmates tease me about, like, didn't you date that guy who, wore all the makeup? And I'm like, men look good in makeup. It's a fact.
That was a thing.
It still is a thing. If you grew up in the 90s, it's a fucking thing.
I remember doing makeup, like right down here with little curls in my eyes.
Yeah, need to embrace the mascara.
Did you ever wear makeup?
Nope.
You answered really quickly.
He's being quiet.
Or didn't. Henry did it for me. So
Okay.
the band we were in, we wore dresses a couple times.
There you go.
Well, once, yeah.
And you would wear eyeliner a lot. But
In the early days, we were trying to do the gender blurring thing.
no, you were doing the gender blurring.
Well, I was trying to.
Yeah.
We really wanted to stick it to the frat guys
Yeah.
over at Fat City. Did you play there?
I wasn't here during that time.
No.
She's
I
just a little
missed-
late
I
to the
missed
Fat
Fat
City
City.
party.
So it was already dead and gone
Yeah.
by that time. The one of the reasons that I really wanted to talk to you so much was because of the musical that you put on at Snug Harbor. It was called Don't Tell Me I Got the Notes.
Okay. Yeah, you do.
It was called Franny's Feel Good Farm.
Yes.
How do you feel about a person having a bunch of notes about you?
But just to keep, it's just things that I want to talk to you about. We don't even have to talk about it, really.
In today's climate, how do you feel about it?
Today's climate.
I think I'm okay with it.
Okay,
I
good.
know both of you.
Excellent.
I'm familiar. I'm in a familiar setting.
Was this all right? So here's the question I'm dying to ask: was this the root of a real experience that you had?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
When I was in grad school, well, it was right after grad school. I was living in Washington, up in Bellingham, which is about 90 minutes north of Seattle, and it's a cool little town. It's a college town, and it kind of has this. I don't know what the right word for it is. Like a lot of holistic, hippie, alternate medicine types.
Yeah.
It seems to attract people like that.
Yeah.
And I needed a job. I was broke. I was fresh out of grad school. There were no jobs. It was a college town. Like, every job was taken. And so I finally get a job as a personal assistant for a life coach. And it's one of the worst jobs I ever had.
Really?
She was a maniac. She had a home office. So I was in her house, like this. And
Yeah.
most of my job was she would dictate her emails to me. Like, not really being a personal assistant, but just like,
Like she didn't want to type her own email.
She refused. I was like, Sandy, I can teach you how to do this, and you won't have to pay me anymore. She refused. She says, no, I won't touch the computer. I worked there for close to a year. And this ancient dog, like he'd, kind of come up to the door, woof, 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 follow me into the office, lay down on his bed, keep barking. Like I'd be there for 4 or 5 hours. And she's like, insisted the dog liked me. He really responds to your energy, and he's never calm around anyone else. But she was horrible. Like, she would really take advantage of people with, like, weak-willed people who didn't have the gumption to say no. She was kind of pushy, and she pushed these weekend courses where, it'll change your life. 2.5 days. Instant results.
Right.
And it would be all this money. It'd be like $700 for a weekend course in her house. And, the people would scream and cry, and I'd hear them in the other room, and it'd be cathartic. They'd feel better because they let all this shit out. But then they'd go back to their shitty lives and realize not much had changed. So then she's like, well, now you need to take this course, and now I need to take this course. And it was just...
keep going.
Yeah, it was a sham.
Let me break in here real quick for the people that don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, right.
Molly did a musical.
Yes.
That was performed the first time at Snug Harbor,
Yes.
which is a local club here in Charlotte.
Yes.
I walked in towards the end, so I didn't see the whole thing, but Henry saw the whole thing. What was the name of the musical?
Franny's Feel Good Farm.
And about how long was it?
Not too long. I think it ended up being close to a 35-minute set.
Was there any, like, spoken...
Felt longer than that.
Was it?
Was there any spoken word pieces? Okay, and then you wrote all the music and the spoken word stuff.
Yeah.
And you had a bunch of people, local people, help you out that were friends of yours. And
Fat Face, right?
My old jazz trio, the Fat Face Band, was the main band, like the core, and then my husband DK on drums, and but Zach Reeder over at Snug Harbor gave me a night. He says you can book the night, and so I tailored the show around the people I had asked to play. I was like, it'd be fun to get, they're already here, why not have them do this? So we got John Morris from Party Battleship, who's been in so many other bands. Buzz Gibson, who's a friend of ours, he was our narrator. He does radio for WSGE. Chocola joined us for a song as well.
Okay, and so it was about, you were telling us it was about
my experiences. That's Franny. There's this whole song where she's talking about how, there's the young wayward soul, which I played, and she's like, I'm going to take advantage of you, come take my course, for just a minimal fee, and like, miracles only require a couple of days. And
did she actually push you to take the course too?
No, I was pretty firm about that right away. Well, and she knew I had no money, and the people who couldn't pay the whole thing.
You didn't even get a discount as her personal assistant or a free.
I mean, I suppose I could have if I expressed
if you'd wanted to.
an iota of interest.
Right.
And she'd get mad at me because she knew I didn't believe in it, and she'd call me out on that. And I was like, I don't know what you want me to say. Do you want me to work on the flyers or not? And I need you, you need me, and. But no, there were people who could only play partially, and they'd just become indentured servants, and they'd be like these people who would be cleaning her house and...
Like, in payment for the thing?
Yeah.
God, that feels creepy.
It's a weird scene.
And do you have any plans to, expand it or any of that?
We're going to do a revival February 24th, and we're going to be adding new material.
There was something about that whole performance that touched me. I think it was all the people there that were so friendly. I liked... what was the... big guy Buzz and John and all that, and they really seem to kind of bring that story to life in a way. Like, I've seen a lot of bands, right? I've seen bands who play their set, and sometimes it's by rote, sometimes they're trying to put on a thing. I think it was the first time that I really sort of experienced a narrative, and it had your personality all over it, because it was funny.
Thanks.
But yet tragic too.
Yeah.
And it held my attention. And I guess I just wanted to get you in here and tell you that.
Oh, thank you.
Those things aren't lost on people. Certainly not on me.
Cool. Well, the response was surprising, and we're very excited to do it again.
So what kind of feedback have you got? Other people talking to you about?
Yeah, just, that was great and unique and do it again type thing. And a lot of encouragement.
You also play with Mike Strauss.
I do.
I put one of his songs up today.
Oh, which one?
On our Twitter thing. Gosh, I
Y'all
can't remember the name of it.
Well,
Do you remember?
I was actually hoping you would tell us one you wanted to play, and I'll put it in
There's one called Down Deep Down I really like.
by the Mike Strauss Band. Can you tell me all the people? Because I know sometimes there's a few revolving cast members. Who all's on this one?
Well,
if you remember.
Yeah, Mike Strauss, John Shigoda on bass, upright bass, Randolph Lewis on guitar, David Kim on drums. I can't even remember. I might be on it. Matt Postal on trumpet might be on it. Those would be the standard guesses.
Okay, well, here it is. Put it on.
Putting heels to toes, pointing fingers, heaven only knows how you had me in stitches, and I still see stars, but I'm no longer bothered hiding them scars. Hiding them down, 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 hiding them down, down, deep down, unmovable, on shifting sand. When I lose a draw, I think I understand. Unexpected urgency, you pulled that rug right out from under me, and I went down, 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 and I went down, down, deep down. I had to keep bringing it up, and I had to keep pointing it out, and I had to keep bringing it up. Oh, I had to keep pointing it out. Some man possessed, some ruinous woman finally laid to rest with unexpected accuracy. You pulled that rug right out from under me, and I had to keep bringing it up, and I had to keep pointing it out, and I had to keep bringing it up, and I had to keep pointing it out.
might not have heard the last podcast, but there was a funny moment when Henry said that he was so drunk he needed another whiskey.
Did
and I
say
think
that?
that's kind of what he does here. He was like, "Yeah, Chris is already on me. I'm gonna go ahead and have a sip of whiskey."
we got some feedback last time. Jeff Jackson said that Chris put me in a box for half an hour.
Oh.
And so he's like, Henry, I'm going to let you drive a little bit on this one. So I want to ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, recent events.
All right.
We've got Hollywood, right, with a lot of sexual harassment stuff.
I've heard about that.
I'm sure you have. Pass. Don't pass. Obviously, like...
I'm against it.
Right.
Hollywood in general, or
do you
All of it.
find like local music in general to be a boys' club?
Oh, absolutely.
What has been your experience with this?
Well,
for real.
For real, I play with the sweetest men I've ever met in my whole life, and I consider a lot of them to be my best friends. But at the same time, it's like you said, it's a male-dominated scene, and a lot of the times if people don't know me, I get brushed off, like they see me carrying one of my horns, and it's like, who does this chick think she's fooling? And it's like, yeah, right, give me a break. I've been given a hard time by sound guys rolling their eyes, you know, and I've gone to shows, and the doorman tries to make me pay cover, and I'll say I'm in the band, and he's like, they ask me, are you in the band or are you with somebody in the band? And I've told somebody to fuck off because you're obviously asking me that because I'm a woman. So that's some bullshit. But it's minor bullshit. The men I play with are nothing but sweethearts.
So do you ever feel like you're sort of out of the circle as a result of that?
I do. But a lot of the music we live in a small city. We just do.
Sure,
and the music scene we don't live in a city that emphasizes the arts, so the music scene is, I think, too small for a city this size. And so there's cliques, and I don't think it has so much and maybe I'm being naive, but I don't think it has anything to do with me being a girl. It's just that I'm not in certain friend circles. Because, and I think my playing ability is obvious, and I will admit that there's also a prejudice that goes along with my instruments. Where people will dismiss them as like, that's not going to work in this case.
Horns.
Yeah.
Horns get a bad rap sometimes.
Well, yeah, and a lot of times it's just not the sound. People like to stick with shit that's tried and true. Mm-hmm. So, and there it is.
Is it about context? Like Chris and I used to have this record. Remember the Robert Cray Band? I think that's the thing that always set me against horns sometimes, is because when they're kind of over the top and piercing and everything. Then I listen to people like you play and people like Matt Postal, who seem to, I don't know if this is the right word. Is in the pocket the one that is that the word that I'm looking for, Chris? In the context of the song, as opposed to blasting your ears out?
But I think part of what you were coming to it from like a blues, he was coming to it from like a blues standpoint, where there was like these horn, like the Tower Power, horn break kind of things. I think you associated that with blues, which we kind of rebelled against in the 80s.
And maybe like Chicago.
But like for me, but there was a lot of, but like I like all the like saxophone stuff in David Bowie music. Right. And you couldn't call that anything but shrill, because I don't think, some of it he plays himself, he's a terrible. You would know better than me, but like that's part of the charm. He's not a good player. But yeah, so I think it's the context, but I don't know, I would not be the best person to judge what Matt does, because Matt seems so trained to me. Like, I took lessons from Matt, so, but I love what you guys sound like. To me, that sounds trained, Well, and like, all three of us in the band have an academic background in music. Right.
And I will always argue that it boils down to the player, not the instrument.
Yeah. And
you can do whatever with any instrument.
So you probably play out a lot between those two bands, Fat Face and Mike Strauss.
Yeah, well, since Matt Postal moved away, I haven't been playing jazz as much as I'd like to, but Mike Strauss has been keeping me busy.
So how often do you think you play?
I would say I average at least once a week. Sometimes, twice
That's pretty
or 3
good.
times. Yeah.
Do you do something on the side, or? Or is it like
That's the question I want to ask.
Okay.
Is Nomi Tokes dead?
Oh,
That's what everyone
who is
really
Nomi
wants to know.
that's the burning question. Pass.
Okay.
You're going to have to explain to me that.
I'll let Molly explain it.
Nomi Tokes,
I can't even pronounce it, so Nomi Tokes.
which means don't touch me. Or at least that's what we think it means. It's a trio, and it's me and my friend Lindsay Horn, who's in Chris Lennon's band, and our other friend Casey. We wanted to start a band playing instruments none of us knew how to play. So Lindsay, who is a fabulous piano player, plays drums in that band, and I play electric bass. I'd never really touched stringed instruments before, and our buddy Casey plays the guitar. And we sing 3-part harmony, and a lot of our songs are irreverent and over the top. A lot of them are silly, and a lot of them are, well, some of them are a bit more cutting. We have a song called South Park Bitch, which is the
Henry,
hit.
this is like right up your alley.
Really?
This is punk rock. This is like, you stop me if I'm wrong, but it's like feminist, but in a funny,
We
like,
try to be funny.
Speaking, the question you asked earlier about Hollywood, the Nomi Tokes would be
Would answer that?
Would be the answer to
Yeah,
that.
we own our bodies, but we're not opposed to objectifying men's bodies.
Well, and let me just say, as a person who's been in the audience at one of your shows, the thing that I find fascinating is there will be an element in the crowd that maybe has not seen you before, and so they're dressed up in a provocative manner, and the songs will have very. You'll think they're going in a lewd direction or like kind of a, and a lot of the people will respond to that. A lot of the males will respond to that. But there's always a punchline at the end, which is basically like those people that are hooting and hollering. If I was them, I would feel like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I'm the one that they're talking to.
About?
Yes. So I find it.
So is it confrontational?
It is.
And I find it awesome because it like you set people up in the audience without them knowing. So the first time some people see it, they're just like, "Oh man, these hot girls are acting trampy," and then all of a sudden, like you'll just bitch slap them. So it's. I think it's wonderful.
Are you playing that again?
That is a possibility.
Open question.
Yes.
Also, I want to say they're all very good at their instruments, which is that's the part that kind of pisses me off because she's a good bass player. Which took me, she learned in about a month.
She's
it took
natural.
me about 10
She's
years.
a natural.
Yeah, she was ahead of me.
She
was
she's
borrowing
schooled.
my stuff, and then I would go watch
She didn't
it.
have to. She didn't have to go slogging out in the streets like we did.
Yeah, but I was like, oh Lord. So yeah, it is Henry. That is right up your alley. I would recommend a Nomi Tokes show.
Yeah, I guess we're on extended hiatus, but we're all still good friends.
Well, having been friends with Molly for a while, my biggest regret was that I didn't come to Molly first. I decided at some point I was going to start playing a horn.
That's right. I remember this.
Yeah, so I wanted to play because I had this vision of like me being old like I am now and just sitting around on my own, and I needed an instrument that I would play in the house because I don't sit around and play bass. Like I only play in a band setting or a group setting. And in my mind, trumpet was easier than trombone. And so I just went to Matt, who I knew played trumpet, and started taking trumpet lessons. And then when we talked about it, you were like, so you weren't particular to the trumpet? You just wanted to learn the easiest horn? And I was like, yeah. And you were like, well, I could have taught you to play trombone. It's so much easier. So that is a big regret I had. So maybe I'll take that up again here soon.
The hardest thing about the trombone is just conceptualizing the slide. But I think it's easier on your face.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the trumpet. I only stopped because I got to a point where Matt said my trumpet sucked. Well, tell us the story of the tuba, why you picked tuba. Because for those of you that don't know Molly that are listening, both of you, or all three of you.
All three.
Molly is a petite person.
Yes.
And she plays the largest instrument in the horn family. She plays tuba.
Yes.
She actually got a degree in tuba.
I do.
So tell us how you picked the tuba.
Well, I was in junior high, and I was playing trombone. I was in 7th grade, and our tuba player was switching schools, and so the band director asked if anybody would want to play the tuba, And I thought, I would like to play the tuba. So he's like, here's a fingering chart. And he went to lunch. And I just started figuring it out. And it was just so much lower than my horn. Like, once I realized how low I could get,
Right.
it was just instant love.
And so you started, and people may not know this, there's two different kind of types, basically. There's like the marching band tuba that like wraps around your body, right?
Right.
And then there's the tuba that like sits in front of your body that you can sit down and like kind of hold between your
You
legs.
play both, right?
Like hug it.
Did you start with the marching band tuba like at a school function, or was it?
No, we had a concert tuba, but they have these stands. It kind of looks like a metal vise. So for like somebody who's small, like in middle school, I just pull my chair up to it. And
Because I'm thinking your teacher, when you walked up, were like, you want to be the tuba
he
player?
was so
Was he good
into
about it? Yeah.
He was really excited and bragged, and I was like, I became a hit. You know, band is very competitive.
Sure.
And of course, band directors are competitive, and so Anchorage, small music community, yeah. And so I got my tuba player's better than yours, and she's like, 90 pounds when she's wet, and so it was sort of like I was a little bit the toast of the town in the middle school
And you're like,
band circuit
With
in
this
Anchorage.
tuba that shakes the room, right? Vibrates the whole the walls.
Is there a song, a Mike Strauss song that's got tuba on it that we could give a good example
one of those,
some
yeah.
tuba? Yeah.
Yeah, there is, but
Or is there some Fat Face?
I want to play. You could play the song I wrote, Hiatus and Hiatus.
Okay, so tell us about that song.
I wrote it when I was mad at my band.
Excellent.
I said, we're on hiatus. And
Okay, quick, I want to interject again. So
Okay.
Fat Face Band is different than Mike Strauss Band.
Yes.
It's a three-piece instrumental band, two horn players and this amazing guitar player.
yes.
And you guys were together for...
At least 4 years.
You actually toured Europe?
We went to Europe. We toured England, Scotland, and we had one gig in Wales.
So tell us more about the song you want to play, and we'll play that one.
Well, I was mad at the band, and I said, we're on hiatus. And we ended up playing more on our hiatus than we did when we weren't on hiatus. And it was Troy, our guitar player, is like, this is not how a hiatus works, but it was working for us. And so I wrote the song to commemorate the hiatus, which is the name of the album. And it's called Hiatus and Hiatus, and it's just kind of a silly love song.
Excellent. So let's play that.
All right.
Cool.
Now our times are blue. I tried to make things what they're not. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm on hiatus in Haiti. There's some stormy weather outside. We had some drama in the Bahamas. So this is where I'm going to hide. I said I want Mora down in Bora Bora. You said this was just a fling.
thank you so much for coming to us and talking to us about this and your work and everything.
Oh, my pleasure.
Continued good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to current events.
Current events.
Okay, we're back. So the final segment, I wanted to go here. Maybe this is not what Henry was talking about, but I've been kind of kidding with Megan about this whole Harvey Weinstein sexual harassment thing.
Have you been going round and round about this?
Well, no. Here's what I've been telling Megan, and I don't mean this in a bad way. I mean this in like a good way. But it's kind of like batting down the hatches for guys in Hollywood. So when we were talking about this, Kevin Spacey's thing had happened.
Oh my God.
And then I told Megan last night she wasn't aware that Piven.
Yeah, Piven got accused.
Piven got hit. And then today, my sister texted me that Dustin Hoffman got hit.
Dustin Hoffman did
news
too,
to me.
and so did Brett Ratner.
That's the one I just read.
Okay,
about.
so I think it is definitely
he's Star Trek, right? Doesn't he have a Star Trek connection?
I believe so.
I think so too.
I'd have to use.
So that was my whole like batting down the hatches voice. The storm is coming, but I feel like that's a sexist thing to say. Like I'm not pro the dudes. I'm just saying like it's weird. Okay, so here's my angle. It is weird to me that we have entered an era where women feel empowered and emboldened and comfortable enough to say these things, which is great. And our president actually admitted to a crime.
Do you think that's part? Do you think that's part of it?
I think it's on people's minds. Like there's just this general outrage of you just get dismissed. You get labeled as a liar. It's like, why didn't you say something soon enough, or why did you dress like that? And you were drunk.
Let me ask you something.
It's your fault.
Let me ask you something directly.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever felt in the context of your employment or looking for employment that you had to tolerate somebody being sexually aggressive toward you?
Not really. I don't. What I usually get is condescension, and people talk to me like I'm a little puppy, and they use a higher voice like I'm a child, which is annoying.
Or mansplaining.
Yeah, a lot of mansplaining. Reinterpreting things that I say, and or just not generally taking me seriously because I am a small woman. And most people think I'm a lot younger than I am. Mm-hmm. Like I'm in my mid-30s. I got asked if I was a high schooler the other day. Which, I mean, come on. She obviously didn't fucking look at me very close, but still. Because I'm just short, It's a short woman thing.
Do you think it's a Hollywood thing?
No. See, this is... So Hollywood, because they're celebrities, they're getting the brunt of this. Because, like, if an executive at Kmart gets called out, no one cares. Or not no one cares, but no one knows who he is. But like everyone knows who Dustin Hoffman is if he gets called out. So what I'm saying is not that I think the Hollywood people are getting called out. I think it's happening across the board because I think powerful, and I hate to say this, powerful white men. Mm-hmm. And Henry, we talked about this before. I still don't understand. Like, so if I'm super attracted to Molly. Hey. And I don't understand what these guys get out of maybe just like when I walk by her. I'm super, like, let's say I'm a CEO of a company.
Okay.
If I brush my hand up against her boob, what does that guy get out of that? Like it's like
getting a cheap thrill.
But is that worth the? So in my mind, it's the whole. And me and you've talked about it. It's just the whole strip club thing. I don't like strip clubs because why would I want to go sit and watch a bunch of
who are naked
ladies who are paid
to manipulate me
when I'm like I can't do anything here. So like, what would be the point? Like what's the point of? I guess I don't understand where a guy like, in my mind, a guy like Ben Affleck should just be able to talk to the girl that he brushed his hand against. And maybe get a date with her, as opposed to
I think that the CEO thing happens, like the
I think it
CEOs
happens a
do
lot.
harass people, but I really think that it is a particular thing in Hollywood because the personal and the political and the party-going atmosphere gets conflated.
But
like we're all buddies here, we're all artists, and maybe I'll give you a job on my movie, or maybe I won't. We know it's cliquish. We know that. It's really about who you know and who you're buddies with as to whether you get a job in the movies to begin with.
Well, but if you're...
who have you made nice with, you know?
This stereotype has been around a long time. Like
Sleeping your way to the top is well known in Hollywood.
There have been movies where it's like the 1950s, like the studio execs are like,
sure,
come in here, sweetheart. Let's see your
It was just
measurements.
understood. I get, and do guys know that? And they're just, and so like the case I tried to make to Jessica today was these guys think it's a transaction.
Well, it is. It's not
Whereas they
seeing a woman as a person. It's seeing her as an object and just objectifying them. And the only way I think some men are ever going to understand it is if a man forces themselves on them.
On them.
Like somebody who's stronger than you, that you have no power over, somebody who you really don't want touching you, and see how it fucking feels.
Mm-hmm. My wife made that exact point, Molly.
Yeah.
To me,
and
like
if you don't know how it feels, then you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
Or if you can't at least have that empathy, you know.
Right.
But I think, I think the Hollywood people take the brunt of it because there is a bit of a crossover with using women as products.
Oh yeah.
Because they do.
Oh, they do, and they do it to men too.
And so they objectify them
It's
just as a function of the job.
Right, but then they can't understand the difference where it's like just...
It's like you say cut.
Right.
Like, well, it's like the stripper. It's like you don't... Like when she's going home, you leave her the fuck alone. Like she's off the clock.
Right. I was trying to think, like, so for Henry's birthday as a lark a long time ago, his wife paid for a bunch of us to go to a strip club.
Strip club. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But all the ladies went with us as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the funniest part to me, and the part that I enjoyed the most, was Jessica, Henry's wife, had bought Henry a lap dance. And while the girl was lap dancing on Henry, she was not facing Henry while she was doing the lap dance. Her and Jessica were having
a conversation.
They were both from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And so this girl is doing her thing with Henry, and
It's
Henry's
all muscle memory.
It's muscle memory, and Henry's going, "This is great." And while I'm on the other side, Jessica and her are going, "Oh my God, you're from Wisconsin." "Oh, I'm from Wisconsin." And it was like, yeah. So what do people get out of this environment? But it was weird to me.
That's
However, I feel like there's a bit of an injustice being done by the whole Hollywood thing. Not that these people shouldn't be called out, but I think the business world in general, I mean, I've seen it, and it's mostly white males in power think that they can do this in any setting.
Well, it's like you said, it's a power thing. Like sex is power and money is power.
Yeah, and it even comes down to little things like, "Hey, sweetie, how about a cup of coffee?" Yeah. It's not even like I'm touching your boob. It's like, how about
calling her sweetie, making her fetch your shit.
Right.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
whole. But it's still. So let me ask both of you my first question. It's great that we're now in an environment where people feel safe and can call people out about this. But because our president is an actual, in my opinion, criminal, is this going to be better or worse?
Well, the hope is that it'll just keep rising to the top. But I mean, he's the most powerful man in the world now. He's never ever had to come clean for the shit he's done. I mean, he's been brought to court and they, settle. And he's like, a settled doesn't mean a guilty. And it doesn't. I mean, in fairness, it doesn't. But, he's a slime ball and you can't it's like Teflon Don. You can't make anything stick to that dude. And it's like, you really fucking hope something will stick.
Yeah,
but it's been 70 years of his life. Like, he's not going to change. Like, why would he? Like, life has taught him he can be a monster, and he's now the president of the United States.
I guess I'm hoping in like a Hollywood kind of way. I don't want him to change. I want the movie to end like in a good way. Like he needs to be impeached. He needs to stand trial for.
If he could just
haul him away in
penniless,
handcuffs.
Yeah.
See, I like we actually have him on tape admitting to a sexual.
Yeah, you just
crime.
grab him by the pussy. Actually, No Me Tokus wrote a song.
You did. You did?
It's called Pussy. It's the Pussy song, and it was a song, we wrote it from the perspective of Trump, and it's like, I don't want to hold your hand, I don't want to stroke your hair, just want to grab your pussy.
I think that says it all, Henry.
Yeah, that does say it all.
All right, well, thanks, Molly, for being here. I hope it wasn't too painful.
No, fun times,
Thank
guys.
you for coming.
Yeah, my
Thanks
pleasure.
for being on the podcast. And Henry, I want you to say it because I think it's a good catchphrase, but you forgot the last time. So tell them all the places they can hear the podcast.
You can hear the podcast on Stitcher, iTunes, where else? SoundCloud. We even load it up to Facebook every time.
You even added a new one that I never even heard of this week.
What's that?
I don't know. I saw the email for it, but you were super psyched.
Tune in.
Tune in, and then there's Google Plus,
Google Play.
and then what's your catchphrase?
We ain't got no fucking band,
We
Chris.
don't need no fancy words.
That's it.
I mean, we need
See
to
you guys next
practice.
week.
We need to rehearse.
I'll tell you what we need. We need some paying gigs. We don't need this messing around, first one patio and then another, and that's ridiculous.
We don't got no goddamn